place to be. What's going on? It's me. If it's Sunday, it must be time for yet another long overdue movie review. This time we're going all the way back to 2009, of course, and wrapping up Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, or Harry Potter month with Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This movie got a lot of stuff right, and some stuff it didn't get wrong. It just didn't jive. It just didn't land with me the way I'm sure it did with its target audience. And so I'm non-spoiler at 8:15, but it's still formidable in its attempt. The special effects, they did what I told them to do last time, 20 some almost 10 11 years ago or whatever. 12 years ago now. They did it. They listened to my video from last week 12 years ago, and they toned down the special effects that were terrible, that were just awful. They toned down the really goofy special effects and stuck to the ones that worked, and did their best to hide other special effects and set the tone of all the effects much better than they have in all the other movies combined. Much better than they have in all the other movies combined, to the point that I really don't have any special effects gripes on this one. I don't have any special effects gripe on this one. So good on you, HP Crew. The story is where I run into a couple of issues and how they tell the story. It was a little dense in terms of Potter knowledge that probably helps in telling this story, as well as some other aspects of the character's development that I'm not necessarily not a fan of. I like a lot of that aspect of it, but to me, it was just used a little bit too long or too much, really kind of to justify the 2.5 hour running time, to justify 2.5 hour running times, it seems. So that's an aspect of it for me. The acting was, I don't think the acting is going to suck in these, really. At this point, we're, 87 movies into a 187 movie franchise. I don't think the acting is going to fail too much at this particular point in time. So that's the non-spoiler section. This video, I'm thinking might be quicker because I just had to turn my AC off and I can't open the doors because stupid people are blowing stuff up outside because they're stupid. So, this may be a shorter one. Anyway, short sip before we dip into spoiler territory. That's not a bad cocktail, actually. All right, this is the shipper movie. This is the movie for all the shippers. This is the movie for everybody who likes all the romances and shipping who they want to be together, and this couple should happen. I'm team, Ron Miney or whatever stupid Portmore name they put together. This is their movie, and for the target audience, they should be teenagers, maybe early 20s if they read the books, but they should be teenagers. So this is their movie, especially girls. This is probably Harry Potter girls' favorite movie because of all the romances that are going on. Because seems like puberty is the real big villain in this movie. Puberty has fallen upon Hogwarts here. Everybody's getting with everybody, jealous of everybody, mad at somebody for saying something or not saying something, or possibly getting together or maybe not getting together. We don't see Cho. I don't know where Cho is. I don't know if they explained it. I don't remember hearing explanation of where Cho is. We don't really see. I think she's there, but she doesn't really play a part with Harry. Like, she's there because one of the characters gets cursed. So she's there, but I don't think she really plays a part with Harry. Now, this is the one where we really get to see Harry and Ron's sister figure their stuff out. So there's that aspect. That's the one. And we saw that early on. We saw that super early on. So I don't know if that's supposed to be in-game. They kind of set Cho up so that she looked like she was supposed to be in-game, and Ron's sister was just supposed to be, a crush on her part. But they seem to be going pretty heavy with them right now. I don't know if they're going to end up being in. I'm already sweating. I don't know if they're going to end up being in-game. Shipping all over the place. I'm glad to see the Weasley twins again doing big business. They've got their own little magic shop somewhere. That's about where I would see the Weasleys. Good for them. Seems like Muzzle Great Britain is getting invaded here by the Death Eaters. So now it's not just the Wizarding world; it's the Muggle world now. They can't see the Death Eater, so they just think it's just a tragedy. London Bridge came falling down. My Fair Lady. I hate myself. I hate myself for that. Anyway, as we see in a paper that Harry Potter is reading, Malfoy Sr. is on trial for his part in the last movie. Malfoy Jr. seems to be turning proper heel at this point. As is Snape, who takes a solemn vow with Helena Bonham Carter that he's going to do the Dark Lord's bidding, etc., etc., etc. Solemn vow that if he breaks it, he dies. I'm thinking that's going to come back and that's going to kill Snape. I'm thinking Snape turns heel here. Essentially, maybe even for the betterment. He turns heel here to infiltrate the Dark Team, to get a little bit further in, just to turn on them later and make that sacrifice later. I'm thinking that sets him up to make the ultimate sacrifice and make the ultimate face turn in one of the later movies. Maybe even the last one. Harry wins Liquid Luck in potion class as Hermione is struggling. Again, probably because puberty. Puberty is hitting hard. Reality's hitting for a reason. Puberty's hitting for a reason. Puberty is coming to get everybody at Hogwarts, and Hermione is no different. She has got her some Weasley fever, bad boy. She's got her some ginger fever, boy. She clearly is on that soulless diet because she is after that redhead little boy and everything that comes with him. Boy, oh boy, she can't even think straight, and her whole thing, 87 movies up till now, has been thinking straight. Harry wins Liquid Luck in that class. Quidditch effects. This is where I really tip the hat to the special effects team. This is where the special effects, and this Industrial Light and Magic, this is where the special effects really showcase. This is where they come to play. This is where it's starting to get better. It's a lot better than it was 8 years ago. And again, I know, don't come with me. Oh, it's 2001. Again, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters. We had good, believable special effects that stand the test of time. They just didn't want to do it. Now they finally decided, let's spend a little money on this one, and let's make the few special effects that we have, because it's not a special effects heavy movie. Let's make the few special effects. I might spew if I keep having to drink this drink. Look better for a change. Look good for a change. Look professional. Look like a big budget Hollywood movie that expects to make billions and billions of dollars, because we're a big budget Hollywood movie that expects to make billions and billions of dollars. So good for them for finally stepping up to the plate. Like I mentioned, the ship's all the freak over the place, and I do mean freak all over the place. A girl is cursed on the way back from the pub. This is, I think, where we see Butterbeer for the first time. I don't know if this is the first time, but this is the first time I remember hearing about it in the actual movie proper. And if you don't know what Butterbeer is, it's a huge cottage industry. But she's cursed on the way back. Curses are flying all over the place here, as well as ships. Let's see. Helena et al. Attack the Weasley house. Boy. So before that happens, Ron goes out for the Quidditch team. And at the tryouts, he's looking a little he's looking a little shaky. He's looking like he's not going to make it. And Hermione casts a little spell to make her man get a little better. In the meantime, there's a little girl who has already had the hots for Ron. However, unlike Hermione, who decided that she was going to do the typical girl thing and just wish it into existence, having to not do anything on her part, exerting no effort whatsoever, not communicating, not saying a word, not using her words, not just making a little comment, here or there, as Ron sees his sister snogging in the corner. He's like, well, what do you think she'd expect if we were sitting here snogging? Right? That's a clue, but that's not a clue. That's a hypothetical. You know what I'm saying? That's a hit, but it ain't a hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially to a teen, like say that, and it never stops. Not from teenage to adulthood. Say the goddamn words. And she won't do it But you know who will do it? This little girl who really has the hots for Ron and is more than fucking willing to get what she wants. So Hermione casts a spell. Ron seemingly becomes a hero. We'll get to that in a little bit. Helena Bottom and her crew just destroy the Weasley house, burn it to shreds. Harry and Ron's sister go after them, but they escape, etc., etc. Ron is feeling worried about the upcoming Quidditch match, that he doesn't know how he did it. Harry appears to put some of the luck that he won in Ron's drink and gives it to him, and Ron feels like a hero. He's the king of the school. And then our little girl, who wants her some Ron and says she wants her some Ron, gets her some Ron by kissing him dead on the lips in front of everybody in the school. Hats off. Slow clap. Hat back on so I can tip it. That way. Salute. Tension. All that. Go for yours. This is what I'm talking about. A little side tangent, but it's 2021. Ladies, you do it. You make the first moves now. I'm sick of it. You do it. You go after yours now. You want us? You come get us. Let us sit. Let us be in your seat and sit back and wait for you and pick and choose and no over stupid stuff and let good girls go and all that stuff. Bravo, sweetie. Bravo. There's a feminist icon for you. Gloria who? That girl right there. She's an icon. Anyway, this pisses off Hermione, who is still all up and down in her feelings. Yada, yada, yada. After they attack the house, Ron gets poisoned. And here's where it all falls apart. So the girl, they write her as clingy, right? Those two aspects aren't necessarily the same. Yes, you can go for yours and not seem clingy. They are mutually, they do not necessarily belong together. These two things, it's not peanut butter. I mean, it's like peanut butter jelly. You can have them separately or you can have them together. And you don't have to have them together. This movie puts them together. In the hospital, when Ron has been poisoned by some wine that was supposed to go to the new professor who was going to gift it to Dumbledore, and it probably came from Voldermort. Yes, Voldermort is still here in this movie. Although, one good thing, he's not necessarily the main villain here. Like, his Spectre is still around, but he's not the big thing Harry has to fight at the end. As we're gearing up, it seems like it's going to be Voldemort or Malfoy Jr. Or maybe even Snape, because we already know that he's made this vow. So as we're getting closer to this, Ron is sick in the hospital, and he confesses his love for Hermione in front of his new girlfriend, who storms out. It's a shame, baby. It's a shame. It shouldn't have ended like that. It should have ended better for you. I applaud your gumption. It should have ended better for you, but you weren't in game. It should have ended better for you, but you weren't in game. It was Ron and Hermione that was in game. We all knew that. It's a shame that it ended that way, but it kind of had to end that way. Malfoy and Harry have a fight after he's revealed to have cursed the girl that lays Malfoy out. However, we're not done with Malfoy. Harry and Ron's sister end up hiding this book, so they're brought. So Harry is basically obligated to go to this new professor's potion class by Maggie Smith. And in this class, they show up late. They're not exactly registered, so they have to get a book from the cupboard. Harry gets the bad book. That book happens to actually be the good book because of the potions inside and the notes that were made by the Half-Blood Prince. We don't know who the Half-Blood Prince is. It's Snape. We find out it's Snape. But we don't know who the Half-Blood Prince is. But all these potions seem to work, and they seem to work better than the instructions in every other book. So that's how Harry wins the secret luck, or the luck potion. And that's how he's able to destroy Malfoy, and that's how he's able to get better in his thing. Then Harry decides he's going to drink all the liquid luck, all by himself in order to find out more answers from this professor. He's been trying to find out more memories from this professor who knows Voldemort and has these secrets from Voldemort, and Harry's been dispatched by Dumbledore to try to find out as much as he can from this new professor who he already knows has the link to Voldemort. He met him as a young kid when Voldemort was one of these, little devil children that was causing problems and stuff, but he didn't exactly know what to do with the magic. And Dumbledore was the one that recruited him to Hogwarts. In the first place, he didn't know he was evil, and then the professor kind of yielded to Voldemort's growing power and taught him some shit, particularly about the Horcrux, which allows him to spread his soul in 7 different places. So even if he dies, he's not really dead. So now they have to go and find the Horcrux. As Harry and Dumbledore decide they're going to go find the Horcrux, they go to find the Horcrux. They're in this little They're in this cavern somewhere. Dumbledore is making sacrifices left and right. So he's already planting seeds about sacrifice. He's cutting himself. He's drinking poison potion. He's firing off all these demons that come to suck Harry down to the bottom of this cavern. He's making sacrifices all over the place. There's shippers all over the place. There's potions all over the place. There's sacrifice all over the place. He's making these sacrifices. They come back and they're safe and sound. And they make their way to a tower somewhere, just kind of overlook Hogwarts and say, we did it. But here comes the Dark Forces, Helena Bonham Carter and her crew, and Malfoy Jr. He comes and he's gonna wand you. He's gonna wand you, Dumbledore. He magics Dumbledore's wand away. He's gonna wand you. And then here comes Helena Bonham, and she's like, "Good job, boy." And they're gonna wand him, and they're looking at Malfoy Jr. and they're like, "Go ahead and do it. Kill him." And Harry's underneath, and he's looking. He's got his wand, and he's gonna protect Dumbledore. Like he's the backup. He's a secret backup. But then Snape sees him, and he looks him. He's like, "Don't you do it." Shh. And Harry thinks he's still a face at this point. He thinks he's still a good guy. And then Snape goes up there, and he's like, "Don't do it, Malfoy Jr. I'm gonna do it." And there goes Dumbledore down the cavern to his ultimate demise. That's a shame. Dumbledore was at this point, they've really earned the respect here between and the anguish that you feel when Dumbledore dies, particularly in this movie. They really try to make it up from the last movie when he was ignoring Harry the entire time. They're really trying to build it up here, the equity in their relationship, so that when he does die, it feels more painful. That's why they really have that final fight with all the demons in the cavern. It's a good job on that point. Dumbledore dies, everybody holds their wands in the air. They don't wave them like they just don't care, but they hold them. A specter seems to move over the town of Hogwarts. It looks like Voldemort, but all the wands kind of seemingly chase it off. And then we end with Harry in the tower with his two friends talking about how he's going to quit Hogwarts and he's going to go look for these Horcruxes. They thought they had found it in that cavern, but it turned out to be a fake. RAB said, I actually found the Horcrux. So hopefully when you get it, you'll be mortal, and whoever fights you kills you, Voldemort. So Harry's gonna go off and he's gonna hunt for these Horcruxes with them. They're like, you can't expect to actually go by yourself. You're gonna need us. So I imagine in the next 2 movies they're gonna go off and they're gonna find these Horcruxes together as a team, more grown up than ever before, magicking all over the place. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. I mentioned the special effects. Very, very good. I believe that the shipping was a bit much. It was a bit heavy-handed, dog. It was a bit heavy-handed on the shipping for me. I feel like we could have done without 10 to 15 minutes of that. I feel like keeping up with the story as a Muggle who is absolutely just getting introduced to the Harry Potter world. The density of this story is not intimidating, but it's definitely there. You definitely feel it. You definitely feel the density of the story and how deep into the lore we are now. You definitely can't watch this movie without watching the other ones, really. So you really do start to feel that. And so because of that's not necessarily a bad thing, depending on how you're going to do it. And they decide to go all in with, you got to know this lore a bit. But the shipping was a bit much for me. The shipping of all the relationships all over the place, all the teenage love, everywhere. I'm not against love. I just think they did. I just think it was time-wise a little too much of it in this movie. I think we didn't necessarily need a 2.5-hour version of this movie. Particularly if we got one other story to tell over this course of 2 movies. I think we could have saved some time on this one. I know they wanted to kind of keep a pattern, but I think we could have saved some time on this one and just invested the rest of that time in another movie. That said, out of $15, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is worth a solid 13 out of 15. I feel like we're going to stay in that range. We're going to stay in the $13 out of $15 range, I think, for a while. Unless the next one is just filler until we get to the final confrontation. I don't see it going too much lower than 13. I know we had that one last time that was a little bit lower, but I don't think we're going to get that here. And apparently, so some of the deaths from the other movie were more permanent here. Like I thought, oh, they'll come back. Maybe they'll come back later, but these are particularly permanent here. I I'm fine with this movie. It's a good movie. I don't hate this movie. Special effects wise, like I said, I'm so glad they actually got it right this time as opposed to all the other times. I think gearing up to the next ones should be interesting. And I look forward to that. If for no other reason so that I can finally wrap this shit up. But I look forward to that to see how it actually comes to a raging climax. This one wasn't one of my faves so far, but it wasn't the worst either. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't a huge downgrade story wise. It was just a little too much of the teenage love stuff. I get the core audience though. I understand why it's there, but I could have done with like 10-15 minutes less of it, honestly. Party people, I'm correct. I know I'm correct. I also know I'm your favorite YouTuber, so I'm going to need you to do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Do the world a favor. And let me know how correct I am down there in the comment section. I need you to like. I need you to share. You can subscribe too, but I definitely need you to like. I need you to I'm dying of heat stroke. I need you to like. I need you to share. I have a podcast every Thursday with my homeboy, Trey. It's called How Do We Even Get Here podcast. All the links to that are down in the description and a whole bunch of other stuff you should check out with your free time. And I know you got a whole lot of free time. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching my shit. In the meantime, the in-between time. Cheers.
I'm a nice guy, I'm a nice place, with a nice smile on my nice face. Turn it back and I'm making sure my night's straight. And when you're out of town, I'll be making sure your wife's straight.